just got my board review for a second.
And I want to attempt it with one arm. Okay. How can I rotate this? I mean, I'm sure I could. Let's land that one. Okay. Let's get this on. Oh, need that. I don't need eBay yet, but I will show you at yesterday, about 3 o'clock, it was 37 degrees. Probably won't be able to see this from that far. Come on. All right. No. I guess that's how it wants to be done. All right, that's like that. No. So I went ahead and got started. These right here are for a steel shelving unit that's outside. And a handful of them weren't wanting to come out. So since the ones that wouldn't want to come out will not allow me to collapse the shelves, I stopped. These ones right here are from all the beauty cover that I already threw out. I was talking to a neighbor. He's like, oh man, I got a few things. Told him which one I'm in. And I was talking to the neighbor over here, right next door, a handful of days ago, a week ago maybe. I have a milk crate. I don't know if you can really see it. It might be right about here. You might be able to see it. Well, I just put some cans. I mean, we drink soda here, and we use cans. I keep the cat food cans and stuff, and I'll be taking those up to recycle and see, the value on those. So I took him some cans that all had the missing tabs, and he returned the milk crate with a bunch of can tabs in a plastic bag. So just talking to my neighbors, I've already got somebody who says he's wanting to get rid of a TV, a few other things, and my neighbor over here gave me aluminum tabs. All right, so the first, that can just wait. So I went ahead and took the plastic cover off, took those screws out, undid these out of these little clamps and stuff that are in here somewhat, and then take these off. So I want to take these out because I'm sure that these 4 screws are holding something else down in here. And I could probably lift these entire boards up from those screws. So that's what I'm going to do. So I want to get the mess, this cord mess out of the way. Those are probably brass connectors. Nope, this one. Oh no, I got distracted doing something else when I was doing this. I mean, it's going to be dirty steel anyhow, but I don't know if it'll be dirty steel. I don't know. I'll be cashing it out on Wednesday when the temperature is supposed to rain. And, but Tuesday I'll be going live in the afternoon, basically after like my eBay video and my packaging is done. All right, that chunk's out of the way. All right, those are easy enough. So there's these, which are going to be steel. Same thing with these screws. It's always good. Have that. These go in the steel container. These are a couple boards. And so those are going to be brass and brass or copper. A little bit of silver in those switches, but I'm not going to try for those. Little silver contacts, yeah, those I'll clip those off and save those. But it's going to be a relatively shorter video, but it's still something that would need to be torn down, and then during the regular week, Monday through Friday for the most part, I try to get to stores or so on, and weekends I try to not be as busy. Went to an estate sale, found a couple Sony things, a couple CDs, a couple books from the estate sale. A Sony video Walkman. A video Walkman. When I get done with this right here, I'll go grab it. The power's on, but the screen power is on. Contrast or hue or something is off, but it does power on, and the screen does light up, but it's dark. So this little installation pad, so I will this goes there. I'll take that, heat sink, that one, that one, that one, that one. These, I believe, are coils. Coil. I believe that's ovalish underneath there. That might be a coil. So let me get that video Walkman. So basically, what your cell phone is now, but back in the 80s. So this is the battery thing for it. So this would have been $2. Everything was 75% off. This is an old video Walkman. Video Walkman, right? So I'm just not making up the words. Eject. I mean, it may have to have power to do that. So I did try it. You could see like it tries to light up. It's just not. It's a different lighting than this. But still, parts, they're about $100. You add that, it's going to make it a lot better. So 38, then that becomes 19, then half of 19, 950 and 2, 12 bucks. No tax on it because it was cash estate sale. And I got this for $3. Cool little Sony stuff, right? All right. And a couple CDs and we got a couple in here. I'm sorry I didn't see that. You believe me when I stream, I'm not used to people popping in this quick. Hello, I remember the video walking from I think mine was black and white. I don't know if that is color or otherwise. Well, no, it is color. It's amazing that this right here, this LCD and the LCD in this TV, which is from 2019, just the degree. Speaking of degrees, Kent State, one of my old English teachers' husbands was one of the engineers at Kent State when they developed the LCD back in the late 60s, what have you. But anyhow. Yeah. May and Mama, Marianne, I don't know if you've ever been to my channel before, but that's what I do. I resell physical media on eBay, over 100K a year, primarily physical media. And I will pick up electronics every once in a while. Oh yeah, for sure. And it's Sony. So of all my years, I've probably seen one other at like stores. So that's the thing about estate sales. You're going to find those things that moves if they got donated to a store. And that's why I do thrift stores for physical media, because those places, they're not going to bother looking at all the different titles and this CD and that DVD. So it's $1 or $2 each. And I sell plenty of it. And I just started microscrapping a couple months ago. I have a playlist that's just microscrapping. And since copper hit $6 a pound, that's when I started to really think more about it and watched more channels like Scrapitall. His name is James. I mentioned him. I'll put a link in his channel every once in a while. Like these IC chips right here, when I process all the boards, so I'll take the aluminum off now, all right? But when I process these boards, I'll take my razor and I'll cut that off. These things are like $30 a pound. That's 1/4 of an ounce, right? So it takes a long time to get to that, but you have a razor, slice, and then this will be a low grade circuit board, which is like $3 a pound. That's maybe 30 cents. And then the value of that. So then I just started, I mean, it made sense, but since the scrap metal prices have gone way up, brass, which is historically less than $1, is now well over $2 to scrap price. Brass. Let me get some. I mean, I'm sure you know what brass is, but like this stuff here. White brass, yellow brass, I don't know if you can really see it, bronze, other brass pieces, and I have a whole other thing that's mixed with bigger chunks of brass from like big electrical fuses like this big. The ends, I got those off. So as I said in other videos, I just do this because it's time that I would have spent doing nothing anyhow. And I'm not getting paid to spend time doing nothing. So, to most people, they will conclude that it's like Jeopardy. They'll conclude that as, what is a hobby? And this is a hobby that pays for itself. I mean, I spent $50, $60 for tools. Ones I didn't have. And they have differences of extruded aluminum. So this is extruded one way in one shape, and then it goes through a cut. And they cut that to make the fins. So this one doesn't have those other weight cuts. It's still extruded. And then there's cast aluminum. And there's different grade, but I don't know what the scrap yard up here pays for the stuff because I've never sold. Well, last time I sold was 25 years ago. So welcome. It does add up. I just found it about 2 weeks ago. Oh, well, if you made a comment, and if I don't recognize your name, I'm sorry, I'm usually not good at that. But if you did make a comment that was a question, I would remember the context of the question. But not really the name. But I don't think you have commented. Which is fine. Do your own thing. But if you resell physical media or resell on eBay, I've been on eBay for a long time. And I may come off a little strong sometimes. But I'm not one of those sellers that are at or on social media for the theatrics. I want people to learn, look, man, I know a lot of people resell. A lot of people do. And a lot of people struggle with categories, and a lot of people struggle with sales. And I was one of those. I averaged, I don't know, $30,000 a year for 10 years straight. And before that, it was just way, way, way under hobby. Just an extra 10, 15,000. But I've been selling for a long time. Point is that physical media. Man, I started finding I was watching channels like My Boring Reseller Life, James over there. He changed his channel. He's got a couple of them. But I was watching him, and I had a drink. That one's empty. I'm watching him, and Kevin, it might be Kevin as well, Golden State Picker. He did media and a couple other like smaller channels. And I was like, dude, yeah, I can do that. So these are all brass pinned in there. So my point is that I want people to learn about things that my brain picks up on for physical media, and the fact it's just so quick and easy. Just so, even so much to where, yeah, it's my full-time gig. It's what I do aside of scrapping. I was just telling my wife, maybe the amount that I'll scrap in a year will pay for 1 month's rent. But it's all free stuff I got on this apartment property. And then I, can read it. Close over to Poshmark. That's what happens. Doing good, but I don't know any other platforms. I've never sold besides Craigslist, Facebook. I've never sold on any other platforms. But I do know that some, the clothing market, if you have it and if you got a good eye for a lot of the brand, there are ones that I do watch mainly because some of these other channels have come over to mine and commented and said hi, and so I'll follow theirs. There's one called FalkonFinds, Falcon like the bird, and then finds the word. He's relatively newer, but he's a good cat. He's a good guy. But I just don't do the clothing. I did at one time. But as long as whatever you're doing, you like the time you spend doing it, and it's keeping stuff out of the landfill for at least the time being, it's going to end up in a landfill most likely sometime. That's all that matters. It's like same thing with this. This entire thing, even after talking and such, is going to be at least 2 hours to take this apart. Is it worth the $4 of scrap? No. But I like doing it. But ultimately, it's going to be worth more money later on than it is right now. But a lot of the steel and aluminum stuff has added up. That's why I want to take all these different things I have accrued and take them to the scrapyard get my cash out now, and they'll give me an idea on how they want stuff sorted. It's almost like I need a... That's heavy enough. That's 30. What's that doing? So this is going to be brass, and these are going to be... They might be steel. No, these are all going to be brass. Which, if I could take one off of it, it is amazing how much trash. Yeah. And the stuff that I've been finding the past couple months, 99% of it, no, 90% has been from 2 dumpsters. I mean, I'm not retiring on this, but for a hobby, yeah, a hobby that's paid for with my time and free stuff. I will take that all day long. Okay, so these are brass. What would I get for the brass in comparing to what would I get for that on a circuit board? That's still going to be a low-grade board. That brass is worth more than that board. But I want to keep these USBs on. HDMIs. Because that's going to make it... Well, sometime I'll depopulate and I'll take all those off. And that's going to be brass. Yippee, that's a win. But before I get to doing any of this, I got to get to this. So all this stuff is done. Hopefully these are not... Okay. If you think about it, if I knew if this board worked, I don't think anybody wants to repair these TVs. But this board, just to like a company like Board Sort, might be like $1. I could get at least twice that. Because we have MOSFETs, copper wires, steel, might be stainless, might be bright. I don't know about the screws. Yeah, those are steel. But I can have this aluminum, the MOSFET, which has silver in it, clip off that copper, which is $3 something a pound to scrap. So all these little pieces right here are going to add up to $2. Plus, I'll still get $1 for the board. I don't know exactly, but I think you get my point. Cool. Now it's going to be... It doesn't matter. It's stained. Or it's painted. Either way, it'll be clean. And what other trash is out there? Genuine, reusable, recyclable stuff is out there that you're going to make money on. May as well follow the gold, right? I got a piece of aluminum. I don't know if I want to do that like that. I can do this, that. So little micro pieces that I'm doing this will go in there, and I'll take all that apart when I get to it. But good to know. That's brass, so I get a little more money out of it. You know, instead of thinking it was steel, I could take that brass out and get more money for that. The culture has yeah, I mean, planned obsolescence is a big thing. These companies know that they can continue to make more money by making less quality stuff. So they will make it to where a transformer, or mainly a capacitor, or mainly a resistor, a resistor will go out. It'll cause the whole board to go out. So since they know it's going to be trash, they'll just make everything else out of junk. And we're stuck with it. But it's those bright-minded people that are like, hey, bet you we can recycle some of this stuff. And then there was PBS and encyclopedias and libraries, and now there's YouTube and all these other places where you can learn all these cool things that you could do to whichever. That's a hard plastic. I had trash somewhere. I forget where I put it. So that's gonna be wire in here. And I'll take a screwdriver. I might be able to break it right now. I don't want to try to do that right now. Not with all this right here. But I want to be able to get this kind of situated and at least mostly partially done. So since I know that, so what I'm going to do is to cut this one here. And you have to, since you said video, you had a video Walkman, that's aging you a little. So doing this, and I was explaining to my wife earlier, doing this, microscrapping and stuff like this, it's like reverse Tetris. You have to figure out how to de-shape stuff. I will be that number in a couple of years. I mean, I'm 47. I'll be 48 this summer, so. I'm a little taller than the average bear. I'm 6'4". So I just don't really want to. See, that turned out a lot better. I actually wanted the steel to stay on that. So as for labor for work, I really don't want to do that kind of stuff anymore. I walked around. I used to walk 8, 10, 12 miles a day for what I did before. But I like reselling. I got my own little regiment, my own little time and schedule and stuff. I get stuff done. It's modest, believe it or not. 100K in sales on eBay, even with free shipping and all that. No matter how you want to crumble the cookie, it's still modest. My dad, so I don't know which payroll company you work for, but the one I know of is ADP. And ADP, at one point, had multiple divisions. They still do. But one of those divisions was called Automotive Service Consulting, ASC. My dad was a national big boss. And now he works for the company that bought that division of ADP, GDK, I think. I tossed out my 1080p TV. So no, who we have? John? No. Ultimately, scrap-wise, this is a 65-inch Spectra, so real cheap Walmart brand. There's probably going to be like $4 a scrap out of all this. I don't scrap full time. So it's just something I started doing a couple months ago for fun, and I find stuff in the 2 dumpsters where I live almost every day. I mean, I spent more time doing this than I have eBay, but my eBay still, is steady enough. But as soon as I get this circuit board primarily like this, and that, so this little copper spool, now I could That is a chunk of copper. So when I go to clean this board off, I'll cut off all these. That's steel, but I'll cut off those coppers. But these ones aren't difficult. Now that's only going to be about 10 cents of copper, or I could toss it in as like a shred. It's like a penny. So you take a little more time to get it taken apart and get the copper or the silver or any of those things out of it. And the same thing on how I learned a lot of other things. I watched other people. I'll just worry about that later. Because I want to get this whole board, this whole thing out of the way. That's why all you guys are here. I mean, the thumbnail wasn't a picture of circuit boards, was it? No. I know I was saying something about aging someone. I forgot where I was going with that. All right, so I need to move that, and then the tablet's going to go right. So if you're new here, welcome to the Hooter Show. So that might be brass risers. One is. Yeah, when I started YouTube, yeah, steel. I used to keep all the like trains and stuff out of it. And then one time, in a video, there was like 4 that came through, and people were like, "Oh man, that's awesome! Leave it in." So I leave the trains in. And my wife pointed out, she's like, "Maybe people like trains because they don't live near train tracks and you don't get to hear it that much." Yeah, my reply was probably something like, "Yeah, touche, makes sense." So these types of ribbon cables, I forget the price of what these are. Then there's like 4 different grades of ribbon cables that goes all the way up to like $2 a pound. You need what? Okay. You can go in there. In the kitchen.
Baja Blast.
Oh. Let's dye it. Here's a regular Mountain Dew.
Well, I want the Baja Blast.
I don't know what it's in. There's only those 2 20-ounce packs that I saw. All right. Get this one out of here. As for right now, so thanks anyone who's here and listening. I usually don't get many people, and I'll get 1 or 2, a few questions here and there when I'm streaming for this. I get more people that come in when I stream when I'm putting stuff away and answering questions about eBay and stuff. And it's really weird, deja vu. Well, that one was very subtle, but it happened. So people could, you ever think about that? Someone could just say deja vu, and who's going to verify that you did or didn't have deja vu? And who's even going to be that person like, no, you didn't, you're a fucking liar? It's like, what? If you think about it. And then these other fiber, these kind of greenish colored, red, coppery colored, I guess. Those ones have a different price value. The ones that have, like the ends have a different price value. These ones right here are a different price value. I mean, they don't add up fast. But I don't know what they are, $4 a pound or something. But you get these that have these heavy copper and brass ends on them and gold fingers. These are gold fingers. So those gold fingers right there, that's what's going to raise that. I mean, these may even be like $10 a pound. That is a tenth of an ounce. That is like a gram, a couple grams. It adds up. And it was free. And I got to tell you about it. I know I put the trash somewhere else. All right, these. So, yeah, and then there was another channel. He subscribed one day when I was streaming doing this, and that's what he does. He scraps. Michael, Robert, damn it. I forget. I told him I put it in, and I mentioned his name. I don't remember what it is now. But okay, so I went ahead and I undid the screws all the way around. You love exactly what people love trains. Yeah, deja vu. I was trying to catch that reference. Yeah. And I'm sitting here, when I was talking about it, I was sitting here like I had already been here, right here, taking something apart like this, describing of what I do on eBay while I was live is like, oh. I mean, it wasn't like that. It's like, oh, no, there it is. Now there's, I'm not going to get into like quantum physics, and that's a lot of stuff I pay attention to. Quantum physics and quantum entanglement, fluctuation, and Heisenberg, and all the different quantum waves. Yeah, that stuff it's provable. It happens. That's how particles work. From right here, this particle that's right here. If it had a duplicate at one point, it's a billion light years away, and what this one particle does right now, that one a billion miles away does it simultaneously. It's proven. It happens. Not at a billion light years, but it does. And you just extrapolate there from there. It's like, what? Yeah. So I was just watching something about Jupiter. I watch a lot of different things. Learn about things that are not quite fully explained, understood, just not really explained. And explain as you can, just not fully. And I watch things like ancient aliens and stuff. Because why not? If you want to add some correlations and some really, 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 really strong ones, that's an interesting show. All right, so now I'm going to pull this up, get this frame out, this bezel. I probably missed, I did not so far. I did. Hit my head on my chandelier. I thought I did. Are there more down there? Okay. So my theory is, for this TV, got a big mark and a big, I don't know if you can see that, but I got a big scuff. 65-inch TV. I'm going to guess somebody was playing Madden and a play that they were trying to do didn't work out, or they lost and threw the controller at the TV. That's be my guess. Because I did that with the Nintendo and Sega, but controllers were this big and weighed 4 ounces, and our TVs were made out of glass. So that kind of stuff didn't happen. They made it better back then. All right, so this is the actual LCD part. So all these little things right here. So I'll get my razor blade. I'll cut these down. And not much is going to be left of this TV. That's just the light diffuser. That is probably... Well, if I had something to... Man, you know what? I should probably just keep this. Because that makes for a great white background for... Not a bad idea. I mean, I'm not going to buy a white poster board. Ow. So ultimately, whoever that was asking, yeah, a TV like this is not going to be, you're not going to generate much money from scrap for that matter. Big, strong rock biter hands. Oh, no, never mind. It's like multi layers that make it white. Besides that, that's just going to be too much to really keep around. All right. Sure. There we go. Definitely not now. Ooh, I'm telling Mom, Derek broke the TV. Are you kidding? Those are all a bunch of little ass screws. These are little LEDs. Wow. Wow. So let's see how this is going to be. All right, not difficult. But that still leaves all, well, at least I can get this paper up out of the way. Yeah, now I kind of see why people don't really play with this kind of stuff. That's a lot of screws. Wow. Must have broke at least one television. Sometimes I'll just rattle stuff off. And by the time I catch up to that, I appreciate the activity. I appreciate people being here. Yeah, I mean, it'll be great to, whenever get monetized. I've got hundreds of videos that I'm gonna do mine like they did from the scene from Office Space. And how they the whole scheme was to take a little off of each transaction, or like a little fraction of a penny, and then it all adds up. Same principle. I have hundreds of videos. They're not going to make a lot of money each, but there's a lot of them making a little bit of money. Oh, what was that? The wiring harness, the motherboard. You know what I want in there is actually these screws have steel on them. I think. Oh, I wanted to get something to drink too. Oh, all right. Let me, if I can salvage the wire, I'll salvage the wire, because this is like a board right here. So I'll and there's so far no real harm. I mean, done to myself or anything else besides, I'm getting the stuff from the trash that was destined to go to the dump. I mean, they separate the stuff anyhow. A lot of districts do, and I believe they do out here in Menor. This is what I'll do. So that's all these are, just this little wire connection. That which came from the back of the TV. So this is now there. That's all basic thin wire. Now I can get that out of the way. Now, if that's aluminum, which I think it is. So the amount of aluminum that's in it is not a whole lot, but aluminum is like 50 cents more a pound than steel. So it's still in it, since it weighs way less, it'll make an insignificant difference to what I'm going to get out of this if I did it like that. Or I could take these out, and then this will be, it'll still be dirty steel. Actually, it'd be sheet steel. But I don't know what the place up here calls what they call what. That'll just go in here. Let me get a drink. Right here. Grab a soda pop, drink it, add to my tab collection. So it makes sense for me to and do all that. And again, like I said, telling my wife I can get enough that could pay for a month's rent, depending on how much you really how much I go at it. There you go. And all that is just like a lens for a headlight. I forget the exact science of what that's called. The design, like all the different refractors for headlights and things like that, that use that every single light that's emitted has to have a certain type of refraction and stuff. There's a certain engineering term for it. I forget what it's called. So how about that? I talked myself into spending more time to make more money off of this. Oh, the humanity! Yes, I know what that is from. And ultimately, that's not that difficult to. I mean, you add the circuit, the little piece of circuit board on there. That's still probably about 2-3 ounces. So out of all of them, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so 12, 3, 30, couple pounds. So that's an extra $1 and change. And all it took a little bit of time. Time, everywhere this time. Rocking up the scenery, breaking my mind. Do this, don't do that. Can't you see the time? So, Mary, welcome. Why not just do with the rest of it? Now let's put that in there so I got something for the trash. Actually, I'll put everything in that little container, and then when I'm all done, be like, hey, that's what I got, minus the steel. Yeah, from this, they'll get the aluminum and copper out of it, so they'll probably give me a clean aluminum price. Because after they do the refining down to get what they need, the copper is worth more. Quite a bit more. No, I have a couple more. There's one. There it is. And then that, go back over here. That. And if I had big enough room for all this, big enough room, more space. I mean, we're in a small apartment. We were in a bigger apartment where we lived before. This is 900 square feet, 2-story, and we were in a almost 1,200 square foot, one story before. Down in Merriman Valley in Akron. So I don't know where you're from. Who's over here? I don't know where any of you guys are from. Well, it's gonna be dirty steel anyhow. I don't know if it really matters. I will find out on Wednesday. But I saw you write something about good shows. So I don't know if you like the X-Files. Well, a couple days ago, there's as far as I believe it's greenlit for a new reboot. So that's where you wear long sleeves when you're playing with this stuff that's got sharp, pointy things all over. Where we at? Well, I see a couple new ones on. But for the time it's going to take, I mean, if I had the right area, again, that's what I was saying, the right big enough room, enough space to be able to accommodate this, a whole workbench, and a quick little Dremel, I can saves time, but it's all free money. Show me the money. There's always that one. Look at that. Massachusetts. Okay, so you probably aren't too familiar with Akron. But we lived in an area called Merriman Valley, and that apartment down there. That place probably had. Well, we lived down there during COVID. That apartment complex probably has like 10 dumpsters. And I had picked up some like cords from electronics and just cut the stuff off and just saved it. And then after I moved up here, I sold the whole bin to my brother for like $30 or something. And he's a state electrician, so I mean, he kind of has the idea of prices and so on and so forth. But see your X-Files. I watched X-Files more over anything. I didn't really watch Lost. My wife did. But I played a video game where there was a reference from Lost in the video game. And in the multiplayer, in the multiplayer of it, that area, the island in the game, so the game is called Just Cause, and it's called Just Cause 2. They had a little area. The island was shaped like an S. And in the game, we called it Lost. And mainly because in the actual game itself, it had its own like Filipino, wherever, Panau, wherever that took place. And there's a manhole. A manhole in the game, just like that dude finds. And in the game, there's numbers and stuff where the little numbers were supposed to be in the show. But it was a game, and it was just like a real small Easter egg, so they didn't really make it completely. But that's about the extent of my Lost knowledge. And then someone in one of the multiplayers built in an anomaly in Lost on that little back area, because there was also a couple plane crashes on that island in the game, in the base game as well. but someone in the multiplayer mods built in something that they called Smoky, and it was that mysterious, loud, weird sounding black smoke thing, and it would kill you fast. And one of the developer or one of the modifier guys who made different servers, I used to be a moderator and a tester on some of those servers. I mean, this is years ago, 10 years ago, easily 10 years ago. But one of them is making mods for Just Cause 4, which I don't know how much that's going. You got that age to where I just don't bother with. I'll play Fallout every once in a while. I played that for like Fallout 4 for like a month straight. And then I watch a specific builder channel I've mentioned a few times. His channel name is Finding Mulder. Okay, the X-Files, right? So I watched a video of his that he did. And damn it. Blue, where'd you go, buddy? Bluey! Oh, it's right there. At one of the builds he did, and he had like a little dance hall area, and he called it Enchantment Under the Sea. So when I watched it, and that's my first video I ever watched of his, I was like, hey, is that Enchantment Under the Sea? Reference to Back to the Future. He goes, yeah, I make little references like that in different videos and such. So he responds, and I see that, and his name is Finding Mulder. Then I respond, it's like, it's Finding Mulder, reference to Samantha Mulder. And he's like, yeah, I've had this YouTube, I don't know for how long, and you're the first person ever to notice that. I guess, in some way, secondhand MediaMan might just be fitting. So where we're at. Back to the Future, yeah. Yeah, the smoke monster. That's scary. The hatch. Yeah, that's what it's called, the hatch. So that's actually in the game. It's strange because the GPS, the coordinates, because they just do a typical 1 to 10 ratio, except for that's 40,000 to 40,000. But when you're there and where you mark that exact GPS isn't exactly where it's at on the map. So you can have 10 and 10, and if you're up by this Lost Island area, 10 and 10 may be like all the way over here. So that still hollers back at that kind of lost with the compass and things like that. Like, we don't know where they're at. I mean, there's Easter eggs in all kinds of games. I just don't really play them that much anymore. I have a Steam account. I got a decent enough PC. Matter of fact, Christmas, that time, I mean, I had, there was a day, what was it? It was like $1,300 or something for a day in sales. And then I sold a $2,000 book set. You know, in that time frame, I got enough to where I can update the PC I have, which I still have yet to sell my old motherboard and RAM, which is fine because that stuff just goes up. Most of it goes up in value. In a laptop. And a laptop, it's just a general laptop, just something better than we had, which I actually tore those apart, which I actually found 2 identical ones in those dumpsters years ago in that apartment complex in Merriman Valley I was just talking about. And the whole world goes round and round, the whole world goes round and round. Once there was whole, oh no, that was Crash Systems. Once there was this girl who got into couldn't go to school. When she finally got there. That's it. But now I'm thinking of a different song. One of my viewers says he watches my videos just, I mean, to learn stuff, but he loves it on how I mix up like artists and songs all the time. Like I'll start singing something like, that's not bad. Like one Mississippi, See, that doesn't make sense, right? The Count does not do Mississippis. He just goes one, So everyone has their own little. I used to sell all kinds of different stuff. Electronics was a mainstay. Anything smalls, anything basically less than a pound. Not anything, right? But I would sell different things. But smaller the easier. You can store more in less space. Not get me wrong, there's great things in every category. But physical media, it's I say it all the time. It's cheap. It's everywhere. It's easy to work with. And it sells fast. Reminds me of people's moms. Okay. Macarena, you're done. I'm gonna go take this outside. Come on, let's go outside. Okay. Now I can function like a normal member of society. Let me bring this over here. My buddy. I got some smart rings. Yeah. No name stuff. Well, I hope he's really good at playing his games, because if not, you'll end up with the TV like that one. I don't know his temper or anything, but jokingly. Rainbow Siege. Tom Clancy? Rainbow Siege? Splinter Cell? I mean, I really don't have any more. Last night's stream, I mean, I ran that thing for like 6 hours. I really don't have any more processing of anything. Will be if I find some more stuff in the trash tomorrow or Tuesday. And then Tuesday afternoon, I'm going live after my eBay stuff's, packaged and videos posted and stuff. Take the Halo. Go out to the garage area. Open up, get my bins out while it's going to be 70 degrees. Have the escape backed up to where I can just lift the hatch, make sure everything in the bins is proper, get that in there, get the smaller things in first. That way it'll be nice and level and I can put the bigger things in. Go up, go learn, get paid, and retire. No. Combine, I'm going to, on Tuesday when I make my video, Wednesday, when I go up there, I'll make my video and I'll just, whoever watches, like, hey, if you can guess the amount, and I'll have pretty much whatever I can in the back of the car, but a lot of things will be hidden. It's like, guess the amount of jelly beans in the jar. Guess how much I'm going to get in scrap, if you've watched any, however I say it. If someone gets within like 10%, I'll give them that 10%. Right? If I got $168 and someone says you're going to get $15 or $152, I'll give them 10% of that for a credit to my store or something. just for kicks and giggles, just for fun. Maybe I won't. Keep all the money for myself. Yeah, I like to give like little coupons and stuff every once in a while. Like I did one time when I took some stuff up to Half Price Books. I showed the whole box. Like, if you can guess what I'm going to get, I don't think it was. I think I did the same thing. If you guess within the dollar amount, I'll give you that dollar amount of coupon to my store. So if I would have gotten $16.71, somebody would have said $15.12. That's within that dollar amount. Then they would have gotten that $15 credit to my store. And who doesn't like a good DVD or a good book, an odd book? These are books. And then I got another bin over there with books that are listed that Sundays of the past couple months, I've been using Sundays as the day when I put inventory away, and I'll live stream doing that. But if any of the stuff that sells physical media wise does not have a barcode or does not have a SKU number for where I have it at, that's going to be in there. It's going to be in two other bins, or it's going to be on the bookshelf on a landing, the bookshelf third this height. It's just on the landing. Guess what this was so for? Yeah, pretty much. Halo. I played Halo. Original Halo Xbox. Yeah, I showed my daughter that video Walkman, and I entered with some sort of like make an entry words coming in. I was like, hey, so the technology of so on and so forth on what you could do with your phone and all that, and if you wanted to watch TV portably, much before smartphones, this is what you had to have. I mean, Casio made some portable TVs. Citizen, the watch company, they made some portable TVs. Radio Shack put their hands in some, but those were almost always junk. But now, I mean, these are about the size of an eyeball, and now they got contact lenses that emit image. Pop it in your eyeball. Not in it, on it. Third world order. I don't know what that means, but sounded cool. So now I have this little bin. So this is, so that steel back was probably 20 pounds. It was it was definitely a hefty move. And so if I get 10 cents a pound, that's $2 of steel for that. And how long is this stream now? An hour and 14. So it took me, if I wasn't talking, it would have taken me about a half an hour to take that apart. And I'm going to, oh, how'd you stay on there? You little stowaway. But my mom said it's spring. No, you're in there now. All right, let's get my scale. And I got a, if you look at one of my posts, I got that Yamaha cassette player. So I've been, the tapes that I get, and then we went through like 2 drawers of open cassettes. We're listening from 80s stuff and Deep Purple and Black Uhuru, reggae, Bunny Wailer, reggae. There's some Mac Davis I was playing. I played a Joan Osborne, like I might have the only copy of this Joan Osborne tape. Listen to that. That one is put on a low quality tape, surprisingly. Deep Purple, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. And then the tapes I've been buying, I put 2 in. So I just got Amy Mann from the 90s. Stone Temple Pilots Core. I mean, that's like a $15 cassette. What else was I listening to? Boy George. And there's a couple others, and I get them and I put them in. I'll listen to them. What was the other? Bare Naked Ladies. Bare Naked Ladies plays back kind of quietly, but it still plays. So I get to get this stuff and listen to it. And so I've been looking for a good CD player because I have a really good King Crimson CD set. So I don't know how much I don't bring it up that much now, but so this was King Crimson played in, I want to say Albuquerque, not Albuquerque, Albany, New York, at the Performing Arts there in 2001, December 2001, so shortly after 9/11. And the university used their recording equipment and gear to make these. It's on a Fostex CD, Fostex, Fostex. So if you're into electronics and stuff, Fostex is a good brand. Good stuff. A couple $1,000s entry level for a CD player, right? Things like that. So they recorded that on blank CDs, which are like the high-end gold Kodak gold CDs or Canon or Sony, whatever they were. And the bass that comes from those CDs from that performance by King Crimson. And the show the day before that was actually had John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin did a gig with King Crimson when they started that tour. I don't have that one, but anyhow, the bass on that is bumping loud, and I'm playing that in a stock Ford Fiesta, and I got a feeling my speakers don't work anymore. No, they do, but I was like, what? Wow. Oh yeah, I gotta get those cables off that. So Lum Num is 9 ounces. It's about 30 cents of Lum Num Num. Maybe. But I'm still going to get the same amount for that steel than if I had this on there. That 9 ounces right there would have been about 4 cents. So 4 cents in 3 or 4 cents in steel, or 40 cents in aluminum. And it took another 10 minutes to do that. Shorter if I wasn't talking. In your carousel. Oh, yeah, a little spinny carousel. Yeah, there's a lot of them. I love listening to that stuff. I like the more synth pop, the 80s synth pop. Laura Branigan, Self-Control. The Creature of the Night. That's a classic 80s. Self-Control. Talking Heads and Human League and The Cure, The Smiths. Bunch of those. I mean, that's now more punk rock, the latter of those. But I like Depeche Mode and Kraftwerk, or a couple of those, and Joe Walsh, more independent Joe Walsh stuff, independent Roger Waters stuff. I mean, I like Pink Floyd in general, but that kind of electronic feel. It keeps my blood going. That and staying hydrated with sugar. Massachusetts. Isn't it called Taxachusetts? Where everything is illegal but paying your tax? But, yeah, everything's illegal. Paying your taxes is illegal. Not paying your taxes is illegal. Telling people to pay your taxes is illegal. There's a great line from a movie, and I think it was Bruce Willis. And maybe it was Gerard Butler or Ed Harris, someone. I don't remember what the movie is, but since you're from Massachusetts, you might remember. But they're sitting in a park bench. They're sitting in a park, on a park bench. And they're describing whatever. I don't remember all of what was going on, but they're at a park bench, daylight. And someone says to one of the either two, whoever the actors are in this scene, says something, and he's like, oh, I'm from Massachusetts. It's like, yeah, nothing's free in Massachusetts. Everything's taxed. Something like that. And at the time, I thought that was funnier than upside down cake. But it's true. As far as I know. And yeah, we're gonna leave the fate of the ship to a college dropout, MIT dropout, Stargate universe. And if you like that kind of stuff, Stargate will be coming back in 2027. All right, not talking about that. Put that there. A little piece of aluminum. So if we add these pieces, no more there. That's probably 3. Uh, 1.8. Imagine a guy giving a bigger number than what it actually is. But it's better than what it wasn't. And it wasn't worth anything if it was never taken apart for scrap. So these capacitor wires right here, these are going to be a copper zinc. So they're majority copper. So those will go in as copper. That's why police are called cops. That's why they're called coppas or coppers back in the day. Because a lot of the badges were made out of copper. Ask me how I know that. Because my mom was a coppa. Just like the Red Hot Chili Peppers say. Mama was a copper, Daddy was a hippie. Going down Mississippi. My wife is up there probably crying because I butchered that song so wrong. What is wrong with him? He never gets it right. Yeah, my mom was the first cop in Hudson, Ohio. First female police officer. I did not know that. Quantum Leap. Yep. I love Quantum Leap. My wife and I, we watched a little bit of the Redux, but just didn't have the same appeal. I liked it a little bit because it's like new stories, new adventures. But no, that one's copper. So if that was brass, that would not be that malleable. Brass would be really stiff. Like, that's steel. That's gonna be copper. It's real. Copper is malleable, easy to bend. Yeah, my sister was a cop. She doesn't work for. Oh, well, I mean, she might still be commissioned, but she doesn't work for the police department up here anymore. And my aunt's husband, he was a chief of police in a real small town south of Canton, not Akron, Canton, where the Football Hall of Fame is. He was chief of police out there moons ago. And then he was responding to, or he was at a DUI, and somebody else drunk hit him in the cruiser while he was still at that DUI stop. And he just retired. He's like, nah, I'm done. Yeah, it's strange because you really don't realize on the casualness. Some people just don't want to say anything about themselves. I think as soon as you put yourself in the public eye, whatever people want to know, like, oh, let's, if you know, whatever. People will do little videos about, it's like, oh, let's talk to this Derek guy. He seems to be having an interesting life. He sells a chunk of physical media on eBay. He's got a YouTube and he scraps stuff. Let's make a little story of what. Who knows? Who knows? Once you put yourself in the public eye, anything about you, yeah, that's where burnout. Pastor was burnt. So did it not only got burnt out, it probably burnt, and then somebody threw something at it. Be like, work, damn it! These are not like the electronics back in the day. If your TV was doing that, and you just hit the side a couple times, and it worked perfect for another week. Yep, not the same. But as soon as you make a YouTube or a TikTok or something like that, where you're putting yourself in the public eye, anything about you is going to be found out. Either for social sharing purposes or nefarious. I mean, somebody will find something out about you. So yeah, sometime it would be found out. Like, oh yeah, I found out that Derek's mom was a first cop in the city of. Well, I figure I say it now, then somebody. For Mother's Day, I want to say it was Mother's Day last year. I said something in one of my videos, and her picture when she was a police officer is my thumbnail. I think that picture also has her old dog, Shirley. She was a bloodhound. Actually, her name was Sherlock, because the dog that we got before that, my brother named it Holmes, because you know how back in the 80s people were like, what up, Holmes? Well, someone tossed the dog out when my brother was working at a grocery store back in his teenage years. Threw the dog out while he was taking out the trash, and he sees the dog. He's like, what up, Holmes? And my mom said, yeah, we can keep it. So we kept Holmes. So fittingly, an investigative breed of dog, the bloodhound, we already had something called Holmes. Why not call an investigative breed of dog, a bloodhound? Why not call it Sherlock? That would make sense. And then we narrowed it down to Shirley because it takes us time to write her name out when you're at a vet. My boyfriend has been live streaming while he does DoorDash, and today there was a lot. Yeah, so he put himself in the public eye, but so I had, and this is, yeah, that's definitely copper because that has some weight to it. If that was aluminum, it would not weigh like that. So I've been at selling long enough, and I have enough volume that goes out. Yeah, you can see how that's burnt out. How well you can see that. The capacitor I already took out, burnt out. But someone sent a message about DVD. They're like, "Hey, is this widescreen?" And I just wrote blocked. That's what I'm sure I wrote something else. And I was like, "Oh, if you look at the pictures, you can see, and in the back of the picture, on the back side, you can see it's 4.3 ratio, so it's not widescreen." So what that person did, they decided to put that post on a Facebook page that's got like 70,000 people, and be like, "Oh, go harass that guy, me." So did they not come over to YouTube? Which is fine because I have myself in the public eye on YouTube. Come over, ridicule all you want. But in eBay, I'm getting messages from 100 people. Hey, is this widescreen? Is this widescreen? Is this widescreen? Intentionally come over to harass me. I'm not in public eye for that. And that completely violates any sort of banter eBay attempts to instill. That part pissed me off right there. come over to YouTube and make your comments all you want. Because I'm in the public eye. But unfortunately, Mary, is it Mary? William. Yeah, man. I'm glad you came in because I was trying to remember your name earlier. So this, I don't know if the thumbnail was still up. But this was a 65-inch Spectre TV, a cheap TV. Out in the trash today. And I mean, that's going to go in these little pieces. Oh, no, these are going to be copper because this came from that transformer. Yeah, I thought that was interesting, William. Because when you described it to me, I feel special now. When you described it to me, I had a generic idea. And then you went and you made that live, and I'm like, oh. Well, that's loud. Well, at least it was coming out loud on stream. But that makes sense. And then I know in a stream here, you commented something about you having a video about circuit boards or computers and stuff. So it came up one of that short you did for the taking the transformers apart and the steel pops out, and you did something to cover up something so you don't get shocked. I forget the name of the video. It was a short. And I went to your channel and I found out one video you're talking about. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So the Molex connectors for the old IDE drives, those are going to be brass, but almost all the other thinner ones, indicative to this and bigger, are going to be gold. The vast majority is what I was able to understand. So you just saved me $1 million. Mary, so I don't know. I don't have any chat restriction settings on here. So, William, if you want to post your channel, put the link in the chat. If it doesn't come up as a hyper, then whomever could just copy paste it and find it that way. But yeah, I mean, when I'm doing stuff like this, or I mention it I'm not like a quid pro quo. I was like, what do you call it? Like marketing specialty, cross marketing or something. When you have another channel, mention another channel for this and that, and the other channel wants money. I was like, I don't care, man. Let people go out there and just share this information. I'm not a big channel by any means, but it's something I find interesting, and people come over to my channel and converse and so on and so forth. I am happy to either be the person to start the favor. If I never get the favor in return, that one's gone. Well, that one landed in that. Mary from Massachusetts. So I heard you, William, I heard you last night saying that you started at the same, and it was very difficult to hear you. I mean, I turned my volume up to like 15, but I mean, I still did that so I could hear you. You said you start off just like this, just finding stuff in the trash. You're like, hey, I got some tools. I'll take that apart. And then, did I understand that right? And is that what you're showing that machine, C and M, I think? Well, keep in mind. Oh, so two things. So when you start your live stream like that, your phone device app might be different, but on the right hand side where your video is before you hit live, there's gonna be like 4 options, and there's gonna be a little down point arrow. Hit that arrow, and then a couple options down toward the bottom is orientation. And if you hit that, and if it reads horizontal, you make your phone horizontal and you get a widescreen. They just started that last year or something. Yeah, CMM machine. So anyhow, you started just getting stuff like this. And then you're like, you know what? I betcha if I get more stuff and I can process it faster, I can make more money. And then I don't want to know how much that machine is. I guess $30,000. I told my wife, I guess $30,000. I guess. Yeah, that's probably not including in the beautiful plastic, the expensive plastic that comes with it. All right, so this one is basically depopped. There'll be a little bit of copper in there. I'm not worried about that because I should probably, if there is, I will. No, I think these ones are, yeah, they're ceramic. Never mind. Bunch of capacitors. These little, I mean, they're not really MOSFETs, but these all, no, those have 2 legs, so board sort won't take them. That's steel. Sure is. You guys can hang out there. So that feels like I don't think that's silver. No, that's way too light to be silver. But these smell like dirty water. Like old freaking laundry towel. Alright, so what's the best thing for this? So I already took one of these RCAs off. They are brass. This is brass down here. If I take all these off and keep everything else, will it be a better quality? Just keep all that stuff on? And there's 3 HDMIs, an RF, and a USB. And a little cooling buffing pad. And that's the intricate stuff right there. Board depopulation, $4,000. What? That was $2,000? Holy, yeah. No wonder why. You're like, oh yeah, I can do this. And then you have to get the resources to get the big bins and stuff like you. The board depopulation machine that you're talking about, the e-waste machine, I heard you talking about it. I didn't see it. But this board here, so that is was that a Molex or whatever, the ribbon cable connector, brass, HDMI, RF, USB, brass connector, and a chip. Would it be? Well, I'm going to end up cutting this chip off anyhow. Most likely, when I go to do the circuit boards, who knows when. So do I want to take the time and rip that brass off? The time I'm not worried about. Am I going to be at a loss in weight because this will be probably a mid-grade board, and it weighs probably 2 ounces, 2.9 ounces. So it's better to get the brass that is scrappable at $2.20 a pound up here. Those are gold fingers. These ones are brass. Those are gold. Those are gold. Or probably gold plated. Fundraiser. But these pieces right here weren't difficult to get out. At least the first one wasn't. There it goes. I mean, at this rate, I might as well. There. Now I got in between two of them. Doesn't come up. If you depopulate the board, you devalue the board, but increase the value of the components. Of the the components, I'm guessing. Yes. So ideally, I can cut off these HDMIs, and these would be used as gold connector ends, such as like telecom, DVI connectors. I've got a whole box of those. You've seen some of the ones I had. If I do that, I increase the value because these are gold connector ends. But then all this goes down to low grade, which is fine because I'm not really going to get a whole lot, much more out of it, even with this stuff on it. So depopping, at least for these for now. I won't worry about all the other stuff until I go to do boards. So depopping. Yeah, make sure. Yeah, these bounce right off. It's like move 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, and in, because I was just a track, you know. Sheena Easton, Paula Abdul. So basically, it's, one's preference. If we're like, you know what, yeah, I don't care about the time. Well, I mean, I don't want to be taking one of these apart for an hour to maximize an extra penny. But for the couple minutes it takes to do this, all preference. You know what? I wasn't even using those pliers before, and I don't know what I did with the ones I was using earlier. Not there. But the chips and stuff go up to like $4 or $5 and so on. Yeah, so the these different chips here, and then the MOSFETs and the different ICs with the bigger feet and stuff. I mean, those are little crystal oscillators on there. And I could probably cut these off, and I could probably just go into board sort with a whole little variation of, hey, I kept the capacitors and resistors on there for you, but give me my money for the rest of the stuff. And it's also one of those, like, I got it for free, and I'm sitting here and I'm doing this because I got it for free. And the more work you do, like you said in that video with the computers that I commented on about the sluicing, that just came to me to say that or to write that because I just watched Clash and his sluicing, which I've watched Clash for quite a few years. When I watched that, I was like, hey, you know what? I bet you if you get a whole bunch, you could probably sit there and demagnetize or get the magnetics out. And then you can have a bunch of other leftovers. And even if there's copper and their gold is substantially heavier, so just for fun, you could probably do something like that. But you saying that it can be done, it would just be a little different gear. Like pinball. Watch out, because Rush is going to get you. Rush is going to get you. Pinball Wizard. Was that Rush? Or was that Styx? Tommy Shaw. Tommy Shaw. The sticks are going to get you tonight. So it's all preference on Will. The who? Are you asking? The who? You might as well, I mean, if you're going to play that joke, you might as well say, the Guess Who. I don't know who sings that song. The Guess Who. No sugar in my coffee. No sugar in my tea. Got a bag of goodies, a bottle of wine, and I'm about to get it all right tonight because it's the new Mother Nature taking over. It's the new combination on. Because it's the new Mother Nature coming over. She's doing it fine. She's doing it fine. She's doing it fine. A little bit of wire. A copper, or not my copper. That's a copper I got from that TV. So ultimately, what do I figure that you get, that one could get from scrapping a Spectre, that's an interesting movie, by the way. Like spectral light, ghosts, and other dimensions, crossing dimensions. It's a really cool movie. An indie. I used to watch a lot of those indie movies. But that was probably total $3 in scrap. Between the 20 pounds of that steel back. Oh. Look at this. I just gave myself a raise. All right. Pinball Wizard. Has to be a trick. Yeah, give myself a raise because I forgot about this other stuff. Oh, and this. All right, so let me at least get that in there. But then there's a little piece of brass, one of these little bident things. It's somewhere around here in this dining room. Yeah. Another one. So to thumb, taking that little bit of brass out of that. Oh yeah, and then these coils. I mean, these I'm not going to worry about now. Now for you, Will, this is stuff you just toss in your shred, and it'll pull out the magnetics and then separate the copper. Same thing with most of all this. But I'm like you. I like that you liked my Guess Who song. I'm not asking you to guess who. I'm telling you Guess Who. Damn it. That's why they named their band that. Like everybody's going to guess who we are. Who do you mean? Who? Us. Who? Us. Freaking Abbott and Costello BS band. But it's the new Mother Nature. So speaker. Now that's going to be in here. A little bit of copper. And a bit of copper around in the coil. In the spider. That's what it's called. It's called a spider. Spider coil. That goes inside the magnet. And then that steel. Hey, what is like magnets like this and the iron magnets, William, does that go with steel, iron magnets and stuff? Or is it a whole different type of Actually, that's pretty good. And there's brass connectors in that. Because I've just been tossing that stuff in, those magnets and stuff, and any of those that are from motors on the inside, that's just been going into a steel. It's strange because most of the time when I'm doing the videos with me putting stuff away and talking more about eBay, is when I get more people to come by. Outside of that, I'm pretty quiet. If I don't have people chatting, then most of the time I do not keep the live stream. I just delete it. But when there's people chatting and anyone who'd want to come by and want to watch it, they can keep track of the chat and or some of the other live streams, like me taking stuff apart. If it's me just processing smaller stuff down and nobody came in the chat, then I would just delete that. But if I'm taking apart completely different things, if no one comes in chat, then I keep that one up. So Tommy Shaw from the Styx, lead singer, youth orchestra a while ago. And I ended up with the DVD and the CD of it. But it's available on YouTube. And for his age then, I don't know how long, let alone how he could still sing now. But his age then, and he did Renegade or Blue Collar Man. Wow. I mean, if you like the song, if you like his singing, and if you like kind of that done operatic style, that video, that singing is phenomenal for a guy who's had been in his mid-60s at that point. Thanks for the bolo with Hannah Montana. Really? Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, so Hannah Montana. So going with that, and so that is franchise. So I'll mention stuff like that in franchise stuff. Franchise stuff kind of piques my interest a little more. Like I bought a batteries not included book, thinking, it's franchise, and I bring it home, and it's nothing. It's like $5. I gave it to my wife to read because she'd never seen the movie. It's a good movie too. That and like what was that other one? Cocoon. But the franchise stuff, and then pay it. You don't have to like completely pay attention, but in this day and age, you can get pop culture news on the fly every freaking second of the day. There's a new X-Files is being rebooted. Firefly is being rebooted. Stargate has a new series coming out next year, right? So paying attention to that stuff. So that Firefly. So I said in the video, my sourcing in the sourcing video, that Castle, the one I have is the final season sealed, but I would usually always pass up Castle, just on the premise that I've never gotten anything good from the show Castle. But with the news of Firefly, which has Nathan Fillion in it, who also played in Castle, people are like, oh, let's watch. I don't know. But when those things, that kind of news pops up, lost you, copper. Well, that is going on dirty grass then. That I'll deal with later. Maybe I got too excited. Trying to crack open too soon, too quick. And down to this wire, might be able to so this type of tinkering, taking stuff apart, not a problem. Start swinging on the hammer. You cannot get new eyeballs at Walmart. Having safety glasses around is like having a bag of pretzels in your car. Use them when you need it. I mean, that really doesn't make sense, but you get my point. I like him in the rookie, the cop one, yeah. So, who do we have here? Mary. So, if you watch, I will mention a lot of the different things I'll watch. So, not that it's just talking points. It's just mention points. It's just air filler, if you will. They're like, oh, I was watching Dropping Names with Brent Spiner and Jonathan Frakes, which were Data and Riker and Start in TNG. So they have a podcast on YouTube, and I'm sure other platforms. And it's called Dropping Names. And the first one, they had LeVar Burton on. And I didn't really realize LeVar Burton was as accomplished as he is. I mean, I knew he played in a lot of stuff. But I didn't realize he was accomplished. And recognized as much as he is. And then another one that I watched, it had been a handful of weeks ago now, had Alan Tudyk and Nathan Fillion on it. And they talked quite a bit about the different shows and different things. And so in that podcast, when the guests or the hosts mention a name other than the people that are there, they ring a little bell. That's kind of what it is right now. I'm sure it'll change to different things. And that's why it's dropping names. So they name like your whichever. It's just interesting. It's on YouTube. Dropping names is what it's called. And it's interesting to listen to some of those things and the stories about either one. I'm not going to conflate stories and be wrong. I mean, I don't want to conflate, period. Add things that don't need to be added. So I thought the brass connector, because I saw that all shiny part, but that's just standard wire. We had a whole bunch of people here. I think it was 7. Woo-hoo. I heard one day, quite a while ago, I had like 9 came in at one time. I was like, oh, you guys are going to make me run out of breath. But I like to watch, some of those things and stay informed. But who was it? Yoda. So because I had paid attention, or at least read, I just read the title, that Hannah Montana or Miley Cyrus, the whole new 20th anniversary Hannah Montana thing is a new show or Redux or something that's her name is going to start coming up everywhere for that type of media stuff. It'd be the same thing if like Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen said, hey, we're coming out of being in the hiding for the past 15 years and we're making a new movie. Boom, all their stuff will start popping off like crazy. I mean, some of their stuff still does really well. I still sell some of their stuff. So that one was pressed in that way. But I doubt I can't because that was a plastic weld. What? Nothing gets something done easier than a scorned woman. That doesn't make sense either. Was that? There is no fury like a woman's scorn. So intriguing. Thank you. Yeah, that is it. So it's becoming the same thing as if Willie Nelson. Let's say when Willie Nelson dies, his music, that feels aluminum though. His music will go up. Toby Keith, Jimmy Buffett, Ozzy Osbourne, Ace Frehley, Ian Hunter. Their stuff when those artists die. There it is. Could be magnetic because of that magnet. Of course, it's water, dude. It's wet. Of course, it's magnetic. It's a magnet. Why is it magnetic attracting other magnets, man? Oh. Slow cooker. I'm not going to crack that. That'll be another day. Because I got plastic that went all over the walkway here. I mean, not like anybody's coming down here. But ultimately, aside of that steel, and a little bit of copper I put up there. And I already put all the little pieces of steel, nuts and bolts and screws and stuff in there, which ultimately equates to 2 cents. That and the entire back. Well, I got to get those the little ribbon cables off. I mean, that's pretty obvious. That's a big thing right there, right? So out of that entire TV, that's it. Besides a whole bunch of little screws, that little bit right there, which you just saw me take apart, a couple pieces of small copper, and that steel back. All that TV is down to that. Now, if it was a tube TV and it worked, I could probably just put that on Facebook and it would be gone in yesterday. It doesn't really matter. Sony Crinitrons, yeah, oh man, I had a 32-inch. One person couldn't have a 36-inch TV unless you're like a California bodybuilder, because a 36-inch had to have been 350 pounds. But even franchise stuff, I just got another book. It may be in the sourcing video. Some things, like when I'm doing the sourcing video, some things I'll cut out. Either because it took like too long to really find, or the app was messing up, or things were going slow, or whichever, or it just, the way on how the video was going, it just didn't meet the vibe, the jive of it. Like, I don't want to go from $40, $50 items, and then, I mean, I'll still show $10, $12, $15 items, but it was a franchise book. I forget what it's even from. Oh, no, it's not even that. There's two of them. The Last Boy Scout. Franchise. Movie. So that's like one movie, right? But it's still franchise. And, yeah, look it up. They're like 30, 40 bucks for that paperback. Oh, Underworld. That was the franchise. With the Lycans and Kate Beckinsale. That's a full franchise. There's probably 6 movie installments. But that is the one I have is from Underworld, the first one. And it's the movie cover that's used. And then the other ones are different covers. So the one I have is one of cover that is not as common. Did I go to the store knowing that? Or do I take extra pride knowing that that's the alt cover? No, man. It's just that it happened to be on the shelf. I'm like, that's franchise something. I'm going to look at it. The Last Boy Scout. That's a movie franchise something. I'm going to look at it. Back to the Future. I'm going to look at it. Those have a lot greater chance when I'm looking at stuff to sell. And then scanning it. Most of the stuff doesn't have a barcode. The vast majority does not. This one might. Frankenstein. Different artwork, different year. It does not even have a barcode. It might have one on the inner. It does not. So it's probably mid-80s or older. 1988. Most books I sell don't have barcodes. Free Willy. Barcode. Franchise. So a lot of times it's just people are looking like a paperback and like, nope. We'll find some different ones. Jaws. Jaws paperbacks. No name, shows, movies, books. No, known. Yes, that is key. More publicly, more common knowledge stuff. When it's coming down to things like that. So that's the stuff I'll stop and I'll look at. I mean, I'm already looking at stuff anyhow. It just gives it more credence for me to grab it because it is franchise something. It's just less time I have to spend doing. It's less time I have to spend. I can get to another store than another one. Really, Billy? Insulated wire price anyhow. Never know. That could be brass. Never know. It is not. No. That part that's like an aluminum or something down there. But the amount of work that's going to take to get, that squeeze isn't going to be worth the juice. Or the juice isn't going to be worth the squeeze. And plastic. I need to take this off. You look funny with your eyes closed. And that's just of 4 or 5 years of me picking up on what type of stuff I want to look for when it comes down to media. Why am I looking for? And I say it. I mean, Yoda. I know I've seen you in comments before on my videos. So I know you've been. I don't know how long you've been around, but I know I've seen your name before. Actually, I don't think you're the one who asked about, or I linked the video where I started using the screen record when I'm actively looking up prices. Either way. There it goes. So it would have been a steel pinch. So, William, that's 98%. I don't want to say it quite like that. So I watched some of the microscrapping channels, James, Scrapitall, and Thub. Those are the main ones because Scrapitall is kind of calm and collective, and he'll do that stuff, the pricing at the end. And I don't even know what Thub's name is, but he's more energetic, and you can kind of get the dumpster feel about. He's in Canada, so a lot of stuff's going to be a little different. Anyhow, so like I have some of these electronic things that are sitting around, stuff that's either not working or doesn't work, or I've had listed this digital camera or this 35mm camera or this or that or this, and then I've got this belt buckle and that little thing and this, and I've got these solid brass pens that have been sitting around that never sold. All this other, I'm like, I've got a bunch of stuff sitting around. I could do that. Boom. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go live stream and I'm going to start taking a bunch of stuff apart. And that's what happened. And here we are. So happy together. Me and you and me. Suddenly, and me. Sometimes you can get this right on that rivet. Well, the few I've tried like this. And then getting that brass underneath is a little bit easier. I'm actually pretty new to the channel. Maybe found a week or two ago. First time interacting. New, I believe. Big fan. I appreciate it. So for the micro scrapping part, I just kind of give you an idea. When I started a couple months ago, I've been reselling for a long time. Got into physical media 5 going on 6 years ago, and it changed my trajectory of sales drastically and my time spent. I mean, I was doing 50, 60,000 a year on eBay at 50, 60 hours a week, and now I do 6 figures, 100K a year for half that time. My free time is spent making videos for YouTube to help people learn that, look, man, this physical media stuff is out there. And if you stick around, I might just sing out a key for you guys. Well, actually, I do it for myself, just knowing someone's going to watch later, except for when it's live. Oh, that comes off. So if that comes out, I might be able to get to some of that brass. And a spring and brass. And I saw someone else in there. Actually, new gas tools. So, 2 bunches gas tools. Washer dryer dog items. Yeah, I going back to Yoda. where I'm at, where I'm located, I ruined that one, didn't I? Where I'm located at, east of Cleveland. So I'm born and raised in Kent, where Kent State University is. I am alum of Kent State. And up where we're at now, in Mentor, home of James A. Garfield, the previous president. The Garfield house is right down the road, like 2 blocks down the road. There's about 40 thrift stores within an hour that I can get to. 40, within an hour. If I go an hour out, there's like 60. I never get to an hour out. So I started to learn a little more about physical media and CDs, and let alone just the eBay. And now 5 years ago, the eBay, well, even thing like this, 5 years ago, they didn't have product research or Terapeak on the app. That is a massive game changer. Because you're not stuck at looking at 90-day solds. You can go back to 3 years. And depending on your level of interest on wanting to keep an item, be like, hey, this one book, it's got no 3 years on it, but there's a couple listed for $200. It's got no sale, but I'm going to pay $1 for it. I'll bet you'll buy $1 or buy that book for $1 and list it, match it close to those prices, and just wait because it's a book like the size of that. And then you start to get a little more, and then you're like, oh, cool, that $200 book sold. I sell $200 books all the time now. It didn't take me long at all to. And then anything that you could scan. By golly gee willikers there, that definitely helps. That was a little leave it to Beaver for you. So that has, and then the shipping cost, I'm done with that. The shipping cost, most of what I ship out is going to be $4.47. If it needs insurance, I'll add insurance for $1 over at Pirate Ship. You have to go over there and buy your label from there too. Silver contact. Yep. It's a bit worn. And then depending on where I want to have the insurance. And if you get stuff sent out the day it's supposed to, I do same day or next day shipping. So if somebody orders something while I'm making the video, or while I'm making the video, I'll adjust the end of the video screenshot, which is always going to be what my sales. Most of the time, it's going to be, if my sales are $250 or more for the day, it'll be at the end. If it's less than $200, I really don't whip that. But as long as it comes in with that time, as that video is going, that order goes out that day. I don't delay on that. I keep structured. So that's all pretty much. I got to get that brass out of that. So, and then the packaging materials are cheap. You're 10, 15, 20 cents average for most of the stuff you're going to use for media. I live about a half an hour from the supply company called Supply Hut. So Supply Hut is a half an hour west of me. So I go there, I'll make an order, and I'll pick it up and I'll pay in cash, and I get like 40% off. So I'm getting my bubble envelopes for like 8, 9, 10 cents each, as opposed to 20 cents each, right? I still use the eBay coupon. So they're down the road for that. So I save on that. I drive a Ford Fiesta, so I get 36, 37 miles a gallon. And I'm 6'4". 200, no, probably not 230 anymore. Probably below 220. But I still get good. Hey, Will, if you're still here, what are these for like lights and lamps and light bulbs? Are they aluminum or like a brass? If you're still here. Mary, sure. Yeah, no problem. I make daily videos for a reason. So it doesn't matter what it is. I'll uncover a little topic about something each time. It may sound pompous, it may sound rude, it may sound condescending, but it's all from experience. Yeah, keep on coming by. And when I hit 1,000 subscribers, things will get really different. I don't know. Just saying. Got all of that one. Most people I see who do this put this in a vice. I'm not laughing at them by any means, but it's just I've got big hand, well, not like massive hands, but that's going to end up right in my nose. Kind of like that, almost did. We have Yoda still here, all right. So I've been selling for since the late 90s. My account that I have is like 14, 15 years old. Always hobby seller. A year after we moved up here, so like beginning of 2022 is when I started physical media. And throughout the years, I've just been slowly getting rid of a lot of the smaller stuff. That's brass. And now it's just, it organizes so much easier. Of course, this is, these are batteries from the stuff that I've scrapped. That'll go to the recycling. But all the other stuff, it all stores easily. And these boxes, I've had most of these for a while. Like the actual USPS boxes, I've had them for a while. Or I found cases in the trash or whichever. I figured that was the only thing that was steel. And there's a silver contact. And I go out at least 3 days a week. And I do not go out when it's freezing cold. I don't go out when it's super hot. I don't go out when it's raining. I don't go out when it's snowing. I don't go out when freaking tornado. I go out when the weather's nice, and because I know when I go out, I'm going to come back with, I'm going to go on a longer route, 4, 5, 6, 7 stores in one trip. From departure to return, I'm probably gone for 5 to 7 hours. And I'm coming back with 1,000, 2,000 of listable. And 85% of that stuff will sell within 3 months. And I just keep that rotation going. Go to another store, go to another store. And I'm finding $2,000 Lady Gaga record sets. $600, $700 Alcoholics Anonymous books. All this stuff. It's just, it all varies. But the bread and butter, the $15, $20 things is what I said in my video the other day. And I reference Ramsey, which he does physical media, except for he probably has millions of dollars of stuff he has yet to even discover in his storage units. And he did a Q&A, and he's got less than 1,000 subscribers as well. But one of the questions that people, or comments that he was getting a lot of in his videos, like why do you sell such cheap stuff? Or stuff for so low, or whatever the question was. And he showed another answer or a reply from someone else, like, bread and butter, baby. Bread and butter. So I replied to that video with a generic explanation of this is going to be the consensus of it. If all you did was sold physical media items that you paid $1 for $10 all day long, whatever, we're going to do this math. If you've got 2 minutes wrapped up in pictures, looking up some price real quick, or you can, however you want to price it, get the pictures, put it away. Let's just say you have 3 minutes in it. If you have 3 minutes in that, there's 20 of those 3 minutes. You sell it for $10. It's $4.47. Even we're not going to worry about the 20 cents for promoted or not or otherwise. But you're going to end up netting pre-tax about $3. 3 times 20. Come on, Yoda. Let's do some math. 3 times 20. Here we go. $60 an hour to sell the cheapest valued items all day long. And it only goes up from there. So why? Because 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus, it keeps going. All adds up. But they're all not $10 items. They're 10, 12, 15, 18, 25, 50, 100, 200, 500. Everything in between. That's why. And it's all those little things. Believe me, I want to find those expensive things, but it's all those things that are 12, 15, 18 bucks. That add up. All that sub 20. Half of my sales are sub 20. I don't know exactly, but that's why. And bread and butter, or physical media, what do you have? 5 cents, 10 cents, free. You can get it for free. You could pay $1 or $2. And eventually, books are I'm a little more stringent with books because what's going to be leftovers after I do a calling, and at the end or at the start of the new year and after July 4th, before both of those, I run like a 7-10 day long sale, which I'm not going to go too far into that, but after that sale, then I will do a massive calling. I'll do a massive calling of stuff I've had for years or whatever, however I determine it. And 20 things to 50 things can be taken down, are just done. Just don't want to deal with them anymore. I will take all but the books up to the exchange. Tapes, VHS, CDs, video, whatever I have. I've got a bunch of video games I found in the dumpster, right? All common games. There's a couple of them. There's a Splinter Cell, a Metal Gear Solid. I got the greatest hits, Metal Gear Solid. Discs only with the case, no manual. I should still get $40 for it from the trash, on top of the other games that I have as well. And then the other ones will go to the exchange. Whatever they don't take, I will sell to Declutter or Eagle Saver or World of Books. And then whatever they don't take, I will go down to Half Price Books. And whatever they don't take, well, they're taking everything and they're just going to give me cash when they're done. And then whatever I have left, I'm going home with cash and nothing left. But at Half Price Books, I'm going to get $1.21 for a bunch, or who knows? It could be $4. I don't know, but I'm still getting something back for all that. But with physical media, there's avenues. Clothing, there's avenues, but look, this is what a sweater or a shirt. This is a lighter sweater, or like a long john type. So if you have a whole bunch of these bundled up, you're looking, area like this. You have a whole bunch of stale books and stale DVDs and CDs, each one of those in the same case. One of these boxes will hold like 50 CDs on very, very packed. Will hold like 50 CDs. It'll hold like 3 of these shirts. It's just super compact. Info nuggets. Yeah. I've been at it for a long time. Got it physical again, like 5 years ago, and it's just the ease of it. It's just so easy. And I'm not going to use a cliche where I talk about people's moms, but it's easy and it sells fast, like people's moms. So, yeah, it's a great. And just the added free time. I'm sure I can come up with a positive and negative about every category. And I did actually, we had an apartment fire. So, okay, since you laugh out loud at that. So it's what the joke basically is. Or I say cliche because I've said it so many times. But what the joke basically is, like, yeah, physical media, man. It's cheap. It's everywhere. It's easy to work with. And it sells fast. Reminds me of your mom. I'll say that every once in a while. And it's fitting. If you're of that certain age when your mom jokes were all the rage, your mom was all the rage. But being local to a lot of thrift stores definitely helps. Being able to save on fuel, on gasoline helps. Being this close to where I can get my packing supplies for upwards of half off helps. Use your eBay coupon if you have one. All the time, use it. Even if you are getting the same stuff over and over again, use it. The price difference, you're still paying a little more for the eBay, but their packaging, like their envelopes are just better. Like I ship all my VHS in the eBay envelopes, and then everything else goes in like a cheaper envelope. Almost everything else will go in a cheaper envelope, in a thinner envelope. And then I'll fold the VHS over, or I'll fold the flap, because there'll still be a little bit of room, and I'll fold that over where the bottom of the VHS is. That way, at least that little more, where you can just pull it straight out. That way, that little part is protected. Just on those little 1% things here and there to protect. Why not? I was like, I love it. You know, I just got a return back, and the guy was correct, because I did play the 2 CDs. And the one I did like, the one I don't know because it just didn't play, but I returned it. But he used the original envelope that I had, right? And then he returned it in an envelope like this, and it was all the way in the bottom. Why? Why? For one, you could just send it the same way I sent it and just put his label on it. But if you're going to do it with that, use all that extra padding to wrap it all up and then tape it. That's what I do with all. Let me grab an envelope. The joys in living in compact life. So this is actually one of them that he returned. This one works, right? So you can see these 2 envelopes. Little size difference. And the actual like quality of the film, the plastic, whatever. This is cheaper, this is better. The VHS, the craft, even if it's a $9 VHS, a $10, it's still going to go in an envelope like this. Now fold that down so that protects that part of that, because this has a little bit of cushion. I've had one VHS get to the buyer broken, and it was like a $10. I was like, keep it. And then CDs, you go straight in like that. And I'm not like sending out 500 things a day to where this little extra 5 seconds is going to now ruin my entire day because I got to do it 500 times. No, I have the time to do it. And I'll tuck that in like that. And in like that. And since this has less padding on it than that side, label goes over there. These are not listed is why I grabbed them. It then depends on the book. The book will fit in there and however it may be. What I have in here. Nothing in that one. I've been finally recovering a bunch because these, I have like 10 of them. And sometimes I will have none because they will just be holding little things here and there. Like right there. I'm holding this. And I've got another one over there that's holding stuff. And 2 more in the living room holding stuff. There was just another one over here, which is probably elsewhere, just got used to hold stuff. Are any down there? No. And this is, that's copper, unless I get a bunch more from other things. This is what's, actually I can do this. Let's see. Assuming they're all about the same. That's 6 pounds, 2 ounces of copper. At $3.30 a pound, that's 18, and another 3 is another 2, so $20 of copper for all that time. And then the copper wire, a whole bit, half bin of smaller than extension cord, smaller than this might go into that one actually, because that's just a standard. That's a low recovery cord. But most insulated, better, thicker, like appliance cords. That one's a better recovery. But either at that, most insulated copper is $1 a pound. I got probably 60, 70 pounds of insulated copper. So that's another $60. Probably 200 pounds of steel. That's another $20. 6, 7 pounds of brass, which is about another $15. The aluminum is probably 100 pounds of aluminum. Stainless steel. So there's well over $100, maybe 120, 130. For time I spent, I would have been watching videos about people taking stuff apart, making money. I was like, what else do I have sitting around here that I can take apart? Oh, all these, and I can't forget about all the circuit boards. I'm not going to process any of this now. This is intended to be like an hour and a half long stream. So this is a graphics card board. This is a high quality, high-end board. They're like $9 a pound. I got to get this steel off here, but when I go to process the boards, I'll get that off. And underneath that, those are all gold connectors. All little gold and silver and all these little chips. That's brass connectors on there. Gold connectors. So that is probably like $5 scrap. It was from a graphics card. These are like $4 a pound, and I got a whole bunch of those. But I got to go through all of these boards. I got another stack of bigger boards down there. How much money is extractable from all this? A couple $100. Who knows? And I got these hard drive cards. Those are gold fingers right there. Gold fingers are $80 a pound at Board Sort. So I slice this off right here, get this plastic off, and I just sell just the gold fingers right there. Depopulate these IC chips right here, which is like 60. William might know better. No, I don't know what part of no, but so that is probably no, as in you don't want me to end the stream. I love the fandom. I don't know what you mean no to, but and the other stack of boards and all the other boards I'll get. It's free money. It just takes time. It's like finding a quarter on the ground and you go put it in the bank, and all of a sudden a month later it's now worth $1. It's just a time investment is all it is. And you're helping the bond. I don't want to say helping the war effort. That doesn't sound good. That's not what I meant. Because back in World War II times, people were encouraged to recycle their stuff, to go through their things. When things were made more out of solid copper and solid brass way when ago. Yes, come recycle. We'll pay you a premium so they can use the copper and the brass for ammunition and the metals for things that basically, Eve of Destruction by Barry. Was Barry Goldwater? Eve of Destruction. But that was talking about Eve of Destruction of Vietnam. Learn quite a bit about Vietnam and protesting when you go to Kent State. I have my wallet around here somewhere. Well, I know where it's at. It has my old Kent State ID because it's some thrift stores, some stores still, you can get a 10 or a 20% discount. I haven't gone to Kent State for 10 years, but I still have that ID for that discount. And then my aluminum tab. So that'll go in there. Oh, that goes in with the wires. I'll deal with that tomorrow. This table hasn't been cleared like this in months. What else do you want to know? Talk about Yoda. Because I get anywhere from 3 to 5 people in here fluctuating, which is cool. I like it. Talk about reselling. Scrapping, I can't really give you too much information on. copper. Just retired with that piece. And then there's a couple silver contacts. I broke a piece of brass. Piece of brass. This is a small apartment, right? So I am tucked back in the corner, as you can see. And all this stuff, as it comes apart, a lot of it ends up on my lap. Steel screw. But some of those brass contact or the silver contacts, when I clip them, they bounce off. That's why I usually have a towel down here. So if they bounce, they're not going to hit this wood and bounce real far. They'll hit the towel, but they end up bouncing back this way. And I got like 2 or 3 little brass contacts from like switches and stuff back here. But I mean, silver is what, $64 an ounce. You refine that silver down and you get it to be pure. So you put it in a crucible and you get it to be pure. But I wouldn't have it to be able, I don't have a crucible, but I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have the silver to do that. And a lot of people do that. Hope that makes sense. All right, what's some top tips to find media? Yes. Okay. So CDs wise, I will grab anywhere. I mean, I have big hands, but I'll grab anywhere from 12 to 15 on a grab like this. I'll just start sorting. The one thing that I'm looking for immediately are interesting artwork, different artwork, oddball artwork, not just like your local or not your local, like your. It's not like your typical Shania Twain, like, or just some local rock guitar sitting there with a guitar sitting on a log somewhere. Something that's catchy, something that's poppy, something that's different. Multi-discs, basically anything, and greatest hits, compilations, the definitives, very best of, those compilations like that. An example with that on why that makes more sense is, so I get these tapes and I play them, I'll listen to them, but I would prefer to listen to a handful of specific songs by, let's just say I was listening to a Culture Club to test the tape. I would prefer to listen to 10 of Culture Club's greatest hits, or Laura Branigan's greatest hits, or something like that, especially if a more obscure band or artist. So one of them, an example would be Mac Davis. So Mac Davis, I don't know, or Keith Green even. If you find a Keith Green compilation of 2 discs, forget exactly what they're called, they're like $40. If you find them, some of his individual ones are only like 15, individual different titled ones. Those are the things that I'm looking for, the more oddball, interesting ones, and the compilations. So just the entire artwork has to be catchy. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just looking at the artwork. I'm not. Now, a lot of the metal logos, yeah, because a lot of metal sells. A lot of rap and hip hop sells, especially older stuff. So, though not really metal, but more the rap and hip hop, and a lot of older soul, and a lot of funk, like Con Funk and Kool and the Gang and KC and the Sunshine Band and Earth, Wind and Fire. A lot of those guys, those sell. But for the most part, it's arbitrary. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that is a rock one. Oh, that is a not a rock. That is a metal one. That is a rapper, hip hop, what have you. As for VHS, the most common that I'm looking for is, I can go by studio. So studio would be like Media, Canon, Kino Lorber, Veritron, some of those are going to be more like I'm just going to look at it anyhow. But the genre base is going to be in the era of the 80s and 90s. Is going to be, I'm going to look at it anyhow. But almost all VHS were made in the 80s. Yeah, but not a lot of the really survive. You're going to see a lot of ones from later 90s to early 2000s, and they kind of fade off. But that fade off at some point will raise the value. So there is a look up Cars VHS. I want to say it's Cars VHS. You can find the McDonald's version of Cars VHS. You can have yourself a couple Red Lobster dinners. Kids stuff, franchise stuff, shows. I think you wrote in there something about shows and book titles and stuff. I think you're the one who made that comment. So VHS and like Blue's Clues, Clifford, Thomas, The Wiggles. What's the other one with the Teletubbies? Especially Teletubbies. You're not going to find a lot of Teletubbies VHS anymore. I'm trying to think of other like kids franchises, but just a lot of kids, odd, weird kids stuff. There's one, Ramsey. iFoundYouToFlip. I mention him every once in a while. He just, one of his most recent videos that he just did, I think it posted today, that he showed one of like an old Disney movie and it popped up for like 130 bucks. A kid's animated Disney movie, not like a Black Diamond, none of that bullshit. Just a straight up. This is, yeah, I forget what it's called. Yeah, The Fairly Odd Parents. Exactly. So I got, and I have it in a sourcing video, and I believe I already have it listed. Maybe they're deep. I don't know. If they're not put away, then I know exactly where they're at. That is not it. I may have. Yeah, I may have already put them away. If I did, it would be in my stream from last weekend. It was something from like the Fairly Odd Parents or what was the other one? The Wild Thornberries or something like that. Ginger and the Wedding Album or Wedding Frame or something. I want to say that's what it's called. And I want to say maybe it was a DVD. Either way, even at a DVD, it's still like 35 bucks. I mean, a lot of those things, they just made their quick prints of them, put them out there. So the kid stuff, we get into more non-kid stuff. So a lot of kid stuff. Now you're going to see a lot of like the older Sesame Street. I mean, I sold Sesame Street DVDs for 60, 70 bucks. Not so much for the VHS, but for the computer caper, computer safety with, I think, I don't think it was Elmo. But some of those, yeah, they're still like, what? Okay. But if it has a barcode, it just saves so much time. Not including any of that stuff. For DVDs wise, I'm still doing the same thing, eyeballing it. But I have to go through so many more DVDs before I find some that are worthwhile. Sealed, I'll pull, and 99% of the time, I'm going to pull everything that's sealed. I mean, it may not be right. I'm not going to like pull them all off one shelf and then scan them and put them all right at the very. However, I do it. I'm looking at the sealed. I'm looking at very, very, very interesting biographical or autobiographical stuff or informational. So let's just say if there was some lighthouse in Massachusetts I'm just making these things right now, let's just say from Kingsport Lighthouse, which is a fictional place in Fallout 4, which takes place in Boston. If there was some DVD about that, chances are there weren't a whole lot of them out there because it was just that obscure, that like low budget. Somebody wants that. Some teacher in Massachusetts or Texas or in Germany wants that DVD to show to their class to help teach them about that lighthouse. That teacher will pay 20 bucks for that DVD. That's just an example. Anyway, for what I don't care, just pay me. And with instant payment, well, I have somebody who actually still owes me a payment, but it's like a $12 CD. And then a lot of TV series, not all. You get enough time, you'll learn not to look up Law and Order. You'll know not to look up like the L word. There's just so many of them. CSI, some early CSI, Las Vegas, some early CSI Las Vegas ones, like their first season there's one of them that's like $100, but you really don't see it. Not David Caruso with his sunglasses. That is his staple move. He was cool in the 80s until he started doing that with his sunglasses. And stay away from your attachment to, let's just say you liked Rod Stewart. Be like, oh, I like Rod Stewart. It's got to be worth something. Nope. That common stuff. Take the time to scan and look up, because then that's going to give you enough experience over time to like, I just know not to. And books, this is going to be a short-winded books, and I describe this a lot. I look for, most of these are not going to have a barcode. So for books wise, let's see this one here, the New Orleans Underground Gourmet. This is font. The font on that spine was enough to catch my attention all day long. I don't see that font. That is interesting. I like WWE. Yes, some WWE. You ever hear of, do you know anything about NXT? A lot of wrestling stuff, a lot of wrestling VHS you'll do well on. WWE stuff, yes, still. UFC, not so much. Do you know someone by the name of Monster Tarver? Or Michael Tarver? He had been many years ago. But that's font and topic. I don't know what this one's listed for. I know I've had it for a while. That's font and topic. Religious book. A lot of stuff like this. Paying 20 cents for, what have you. May as well. What we have here? Q&A. This hardcover is like $100. So I went to high school with Monster Tarver. His name is Jerome Evans. Or Tyrone. I went to high school with his brother, Jerome. Their dad was a professional boxer named Tyrone Evans. Stands 6'8". I'm 6'4", right? So in high school or in middle school, when I remember seeing him, you know, I was probably 5'10", and this 6'8" monster. But yeah, I went to high school with him. As a matter of fact, one of my old bosses at a company I used to work for, Renewal by Anderson, many years ago, my old canvassing boss then, his first fight was with Monster Tarver in NXT. So we're just kind of talking about, and I don't know much about wrestling, but it just kind of comes up. He's like, oh, that's what I do. I wrestle. We get to talking and stuff. He actually had his own gym and everything out in Elyria area. And he would do professional wrestling and then some sub-professional wrestling, and starts talking about that. I was like, oh, you know, buddy, someone I went to high school with fought in NXT. He's like, oh, who? I was like, his name's Tyrone Evans. And I was like, huh? It's like Michael Tarver. He's like, oh, god damn it. Yeah, it was my very first fight. So short story. And the world goes round and around. We're all 6 degrees. We're all 6 degrees from each other. Aside of, these are Nintendo cords. So when I go up to the exchange, these are things I found in the trash. So I could list, this is for Super Nintendo, and this is for a regular Nintendo. I didn't find the consoles out there. So I probably could, sell these. They're probably $15 each right now. But if they were $30 each, yeah, I would. But these I'll just take up to the exchange, and I have some Nintendo DS, like car lighter, little plug things, and the connector cord and stuff that's in there, things I've just found in the trash. But they'll just get that, because they'll make way better use of this with it being dirty. And if they don't take it, then yeah, I'll list it. But that stays up. That's up here. I'm trying to find more. I did all my freaking fine tuning last night. Speaker wire. So those are some of the tips. Font, fade, and color tone is what I look for when I'm looking at. This is a very bad example. So it's definitely, you can look at the spine. Where's my camera at? Over this. So you can look at the spine. You could tell that it's an older style book. It doesn't have that papery look like newer books do. Newer, like for the past 30 years. So that at least gave me that. That picture, that image. That is definitely early kind of space age feel book. So I saw that. I'm like, yes, that is definitely whatever the scenario is. And this is actually from Avon High School Library. This book I've had for a while. 1954. So obviously no barcode. But it's that coloring. And the fade in the font. And the visual texture. Like I said, the paper feel, but this is not that paper visual feel. It's a little different. This is religious, so I would have that's something I would have just looked up anyhow. Wild pigeons. I had this one for a little while as well. When I looked this one up, I forget, but when I actually got the pictures and listed it, it was like no barcode, so I would have hand typed it when I was looking at it at the store. I'll send an offer out on it every once in a while. This, I believe, is a German or Polish cookbook. Yeah, German cookbook. So these are going to be foreign cookbooks that I think this is English and German. But this is from 1963. Now it's all English. Oh, look at these. Look at those color pictures. And those chocolate mousse drinks. Man, I feel richer already looking at these pictures. It's like back in the day when you used to get the big posters from whatever, and it was the posters of like the Ferrari Testarossa and the Lamborghini Murcielago, and you see those cars at that time. You're like, oh man, I have the posters. I feel rich now. Psychosomatic feeling. Some more copper, just sitting on the table, waiting to be found. So that's what I do, and then after a while, you kind of get an idea, and then if we go for genres wise, not just older books, but again, more biography, autobiography, religious, and instructional, and not so much, but you can find some good ones in self-help. Not really like the eat this kind of food and it cures your depression, more like the AA type stuff. There's some other minor self-help stuff, but this one right here, it's like a $50 book. So to me, I'm looking it up, and it's a $50 book. To me, say $50 book is almost nothing, because most of my books are going to be 40 to well over $100. There we go, biography. So books like this one might be signed. So a signed version of The Greatest Sea Adventure of All Time, the first man to sail nonstop around the world, tells the story of his lonely ordeal. So biography. Autobiography, if it's him telling it. A Stranger Science Fiction. I think this is the book club. it's been, so this is what they call price clipped, because usually there's a price up here or down here. They'll price clip that. Usually at stores back way when ago, they would do that to let the publisher who's going to rebuy it buy it back. Or however they worked it out, the store would clip it to let the publisher know this is pulled off the shelves. You guys are buying it back. Amongst many things, or there would be remainder marks. They would put remainder marks on the tops or the bottoms. It could be a pen, or it could be a little round dot, kind of like you used to get when you used to go to the the bar when you're underage, and they would give you a red dot. So like you're not 21. Second printing of this one, 1959. So just things like this, and this stuff here, I'm probably paying $1 for. And when I do that bigger calling, of stuff, I use the date stamps in my pictures as another reference point, and I'm like, oh, I've had this $20 book for 3 years, and it's had 1 view since the last time I did a sell similar on it 8 months ago. I don't fucking want it anymore. Well, I mean, I'll copy paste the title. I'll put it in Therapy to kind of see if it has sold recently, if it will stand a chance to sell for. But if there's 2 sales for $12 for a $20 book, and if I put it up for $12 and I try to I'm putting more time. No, it just didn't have enough interest. I could sit on everything that just doesn't sell for as long as the sun is burning, as long as the wheels are turning. Singing Meatloaf now. As long as it's not moving and it's not going anywhere, chances are with books, quite a bit over a year, I'll keep it 4, sometimes even 2, depending on price. And they come down, they get called, and that's where I get rid of my inventory at. But twice a year, I'm only pulling like 30 to 50 things completely out of my inventory. So that means throughout all that time frame and all the accumulation of stuff that's being pulled is at least a year old, a year to 3 years old at that point that I've had it for, and I'm only pulling like 30 things. That's a really fucking good ratio of stuff to have. I mean, my selling ratio, I mean, it's gone down now. Look this up now. And then after that, I'm going to end up throwing in the flag. Oh, this is not going to let me do this on that. I've signed in. So this is going to give you an idea. So I haven't done a calling in a while, since the couple days after the turn of the year. So I'm at, just for right now, sales are, there's 15 sales, 316, 294. So that's $20 average. $20. And this would be sales from since Saturday before I posted the video. 861 sales. So if we add that 861 and anything that gets returned or refunded, I take out of this counter. So that's going to be all complete, legit, verified sales, no returns on it. And the listings is like 28. So 861 plus 2813. So 36, 70. 861, that's 30%. 28, almost 30%. 32 and 8 times 3 is 20, 8 times 4 is 36. So yeah, 30%. So 30% of what I'm bringing in is going out. That's my selling ratio. That's the math you want to use. And then so very, very few of the stuff actually gets called, and I'm still making 4, 8, 10, 15, 20 bucks on that junk stuff. All right. It's different to actually sit here and watch myself 10 seconds post live. And just even watch my man. I mean, I watch myself all the time when I'm editing the videos, but that's just weird. It's like, oh, I am goofy, as it is anyhow. But I definitely look goofy. get this trash. So in my experience of taking apart that large TV, so I'm glad I learned my first time. So if I'm only going to get that much from that, if I get a TV around the time when I'm going to go scrap out, I'll put it in the trunk or in the SUV, in the Ford Escape, and be on my way and get $1 out of the TV. Damn it, I thought I was just finishing up. I appreciate all the... Yeah, I mean, this was just supposed to be just to take that TV apart, but if somebody wants to stick around and ask questions, help yourself. But it's a lot of just, and that's why I don't make specific individual videos about one very, very specific topic. If you want to pick up on, so if you like my, or people like my banter, my mannerisms, whichever, whatever it may be, on why they stick around, the point of the videos are that each video, not each, but every other, give or take, whatever the ratio is, it's going to have a little tidbit, a little snippet of something that I believe I know I did that helped me, and I'm going to tell other people. That's what I looked for. That's why I did that. That's why I picked that book. That's why I did that. Not all the items. A lot of them I will. And there'll be little idiosyncrasies I'll mention in each video. So if I just made one video or several videos about this is what it is about promoted, this is what it is about free shipping. No. I learn things every day, and a lot of those things I learn every day that's about reselling, other people need. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows in a couple years from now when someone's like, you know what? There's a lot of YouTubers out there who sell on eBay, but there's probably one of the pretty goofy guy, pretty knowledgeable, and all he wants to do is just let people know about this and this and this, about how it's going to help them with physical media, because that's what he does. Oh, yeah? Yeah, he sells 300,000 a year, so go listen. Who knows? But that's not like the legend I'm trying to leave, the mark I'm trying to leave. It's like media is everywhere. It is fucking everywhere. And I'm not going to use a cliche again, but it's everywhere, man. And it's so easy to work with, right? Here I go with it again. It's just so easy to work with. And if you think about the ins and outs, the little idiot, or the I'm not going to use idiosyncrasies again, but the little ins and outs about why is it? Well, scarcity, rarity, availability, scarcity and rarity, demand. I mean, you have to understand a difference between scarcity and rarity. So there are millions of these envelopes out there, but only a small amount that are ripped like this. This is a rare envelope. Scarcity is going to be, is it applicable? Is it something that somebody's going to continually to use? Is it going to have a collector point to it? A need point to it? Rare envelope, worth nothing. Scarce envelope, not worth anything. Does it have a collector or demand market? Yes. No. But if it does, there you go. So, music, it sounds so trivial. It sounds so marginalized. Just say music. So, I mean, I got that nice cassette player, and even playing that through that 8-track amp that I have, it needs work to make it sound better. But even at that, with that set and those Bose Acoustic 5 speakers, you can hear cymbals and you can hear little sounds, this and that, and you can hear basses that your car is not going to be able to pick up. Your little earbuds are not going to be able to pick up. The vocal ranges of some of the voices of these people, they're not going to be able to pick up or be able to reproduce. So people want nostalgia. Actually, this one here I listened to. This one, I think this one has the Expose, Stevie D, Johnny D, Woe to the Power, Amaretto, Sandy, Sandee, Pajama Party, Cynthia, Suave, Trilogy, Stevie B, Connie, The Latin Rascals, Freestyle, Fascination. And half these songs I knew on here. It was a good, that was a good one. Same thing with movies. And there's going to be someone out there, somewhere, that they're a massive fan of Fruzaball, right? And they're like, dude, The Craft. You have to watch The Craft. That was like it was The Craft and the movie The Kids. That was the 90s right there. If you watch The Craft and if you know The Kids, you're a 90s kid for sure. But somebody wants that. And it was a kind of a taboo movie then. Not like sexually taboo, but it still kind of was. There was a scene in it. But it was a taboo movie because it's talking about this Wiccan witchcraft stuff. And so they didn't make a whole lot of them. But people want these. And since there is demand, there may be a lot out there, but since there's a high demand for fucking 30-year-old movie now, easily. 96, yeah, 30-year-old movie. This one's like $20. And Scream, that Drew Barrymore VHS, the one that I have, has a different cover on it. It has Drew Barrymore with Scream going across the middle of the VHS sleeve, the sleeve box. And that one's like $30. All the other ones that are not Drew Barrymore or not ones of that type of design, excluding it being Drew Barrymore, or it could have been any of the other characters, the basic Screams are still like $10, $12. But it's the oddball ones like that. There's fewer of them. Scarcity. They're not rare because there's tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of them, but they're scarce because VHS, how many households have VHS players? VCRs, I should say, right? So there's a lot of it out there, but there's so much scarce stuff. And it's so cheap. Getting tired of talking about people's moms. There's my other soda. But that's how Legend, yes. Tangerine Dream did the soundtrack for that. Legend with Maya Sarah. That Legend? Don't go out there, Lily. Eat the lichens. Watch out for the berries. And Tim Curry, you little boy. That Legend? Yes. Yeah, and so Legend, not so much. Legend soundtrack, yes, is about $40. Legend the movie, not so much. Sealed, yeah, you probably still get $15, $20 DVD or VHS. But a lot of the ones that we grew up on, you're naming these references to where I'm guessing you're about my same age, maybe a little younger. Baby Yoda and female. Oh. Okay, well, then you got an improvisation of Legend and how that impacted my generation. That movie Legend, Maya Sarah, Tom Cruise, Tim Curry. So it actually turns out, just watching some of these behind it. So I actually watch another channel. I haven't watched one in a while. It's called Marvelous Studios. So what they do, they break down all different types of things from different movies. I'm not going to go into all about their channel. But they just posted something that YouTube has demonetized, like all of their, but it's not AI, it's a full staff and some other things, but they do a lot of breakdowns on movies. But like you have the Never Ending Story, like I mentioned my big rock biter hands earlier, and Page Master and Dark Crystal, Labyrinth. Those are a lot of like straight up that generation time frame. Matter of fact, Never Ending Story came out with a new, I think it was a new 4K Blu-ray, a Blu-ray kit. And I actually sold the first American edition of the Never Ending Story. Last year. It was like $180 or something, $200. And I found it at the Goodwill for $1.79 or something. It was tucked behind, so that it was perpendicular with the books. All the other books were like this, and it was backwards. So I saw it behind all the kids' books, which aren't as deep, right? When I look at it, I was like, oh yeah, I'll grab that. Norman Baum? No, Baum was Wizard of Oz. I forget who wrote the Neverending Story. But using the noodle, the wrinkly noodle, the wet wrinkly noodle. You know, in 30 years, I could that could be the proper moniker for a given anatomy part. But use the noodle up here. Why these things are in fine systems. I said something to somebody the other day. Don't worry about your dedication if you're structured, and you don't have to worry about the dedication or motivation if you're structured, and if you have good inventory management, as in quality inventory, and stuff is putting away, and you have this appreciation of putting stuff away, and you now know that's where it's like finishing a project. You put the stuff away, and you know where, and you're neat with your inventory. Your motivation and dedication are just going to be, it's going to be inherent. So I can't say that motivation and dedication to really ride that camp. You're like, I don't sell because I'm not motivated. No, you don't sell because you're not structured. You don't sell because you don't have a good system. Go tell I don't know, some astrophysicist or some, I don't know, engineer somewhere at NASA, and go tell him, like, dude, your system sucks. Yeah, it does. That's why I haven't made anything yet. But when you come up with a good system, I'm sure you'll make something good, right? Yep. Go do something without some sort of structure and some sort of system, without either of those two. If you have both of those, I will guarantee you motivation and dedication will not even be in your vernacular anymore. I'm not motivated to get pictures because structure. Do it. Just do it. And I'm going to sign it off with stealing Nike's slogan. Keep on going in the free world. All right. Appreciate it. Keep on sticking around for the videos. Thanks for all the talking. Oh. Go gadget. Arms.